Now, 1 billion people have been lifted out of extreme poverty since 1990. That's according to the UN's Development Agency. But it says that same progress has left marginalised groups behind. The UN's new Human Development Report highlights the difficulties faced by women and minorities in making use of their basic rights. In 18 countries, women still have to obtain their husband's approval to take a job, and when they do find work, they earn less than their male counterparts. The report ranks nations based on factors like education and life expectancy. Norway topped the ranking, with the Central African Republic coming bottom of the table. The head of the United Nations Development Programme is Helen Clark, and she joins us from Stockholm. Welcome to DW. I'm just looking through your report. It says that development has bypassed some groups, communities and societies, and that people have been left behind. Given that different societies have always progressed at different rates, why does this matter?
Well, it matters because we have a new global development agenda that says that no one should be left behind. It sets goals and targets for 2030. So it's a bit of a race against time to start now to address some of the long-standing barriers to people having equal access to opportunity. The report identifies what are the groupings which are systematically left behind across societies. That is women and girls, it is Indigenous people, it is ethnic minorities, it's rural dwellers, it's LGBTI, it's older people, people with disabilities. There's quite a long list. But identifying who the groups are, what the barriers are, and then the policy solutions is critical to getting to that global commitment to leave no one behind by 2030.
And define for us, if you would, what you mean by being left behind. What is it that these people are not getting, or indeed getting?
In essence, they are poorer. They lack access to the same opportunities, which could be in education and work, for example. They will have less equal access to healthcare, and they will have less voice in the political system. So there tends to be systematic exclusion. And if you're excluded, then you can't make your voice heard, so you're less likely to be able to have any influence on public policy.
Your report identifies a number of African states like Senegal and Ethiopia that have made big leaps forward. What are they getting right?
Well, a number of African states have done well against the previous Millennium Development Goal era, and I think will continue to do well with the SDGs. Take, for example, Rwanda, which just over 20 years ago was brought to its knees by genocide. And yet, with very determined leadership, they made huge strides on poverty reduction, on gender equality, on education and health status. So it does take very strong leadership. Now, arguably, some leadership is sometimes a bit too strong, but we have seen Ethiopia, Rwanda really deliver against global goals and targets. We've seen Senegal, which has had a peaceful history since independence, actually show what that peace dividend can be in terms of lifting human development. So leadership, peace, good strategies, getting the confidence of partners to invest and support, all this is important.
The countries that have seen the biggest setbacks, countries like Syria and Yemen, they're all in conflict. They're likely to look at this report and say, well, we are busy trying not to get killed, rather than thinking about whether or not women can vote. How would you respond to them?
Well, a fundamental truth is that conflict sets human development back years. It used to be said that where a country spilled right over into conflict, for example, in Africa, that it could take 30 years to come back to even the level of gross domestic product you had before the conflict. In the case of Syria, there have been estimates that it's lost probably 3 decades of human development progress, because before this conflict, it was an authoritarian, stable, middle-income country with its children in school and making reasonable progress on the conventional development indicators. I think this also tells us another fundamental truth that those gains aren't sustainable if there's something deficient about the state of governance, where people feel they can't be heard, they can't influence decisions, and they're excluded. And that lack of voice can, in the end, tip things over.
We're going to leave it there. Helen Clark, from the UN Development Programme, thank you so much.
Thank you.